The cold rain slants under the broken awning of the logistics depot. You stare at the digital clipboard in your trembling hands. The screen flashes red. Manifest mismatch 14 units unaccounted for. A shadow steps out from between the shipping containers. It is Miller, the night supervisor. He does not look angry. He looks hungry. He slides a thick manila envelope into your damp jacket pocket and taps the screen with a scarred thumb. The red flashing stops. The screen turns a placid green. At this level, the rules are dictated by survival and sheer compliance. You possess zero leverage, your currency is your silence, and your supervisor owns your schedule. You quickly learn that documentation is a fluid concept, compliance is mandatory, and questions result in immediate termination. You walk to your rusted sedan, your chest tightening. The envelope feels like a brick against your ribs. Inside are 20 crisp $100 bills, more than your bi-weekly paycheck. You tell yourself it is a one-time anomaly to pay the overdue rent. You ignore the hollow sensation in your stomach. The innocence of an honest day's labor dissolves as you turn the ignition key. You are no longer an observer. You are an accomplice. 6 months pass. You no longer work the loading docks. You sit in a windowless cubicle on the 3rd floor, overseeing the inventory routing software. The internal notification chimes at 2 a.m. A shipment of unrestricted pharmaceuticals is rerouting to an unregistered warehouse in Sector 4. The system flags it as a high-risk anomaly. Your finger hovers over the override button. You press it. The rules shift slightly here. Loyalty is measured by your speed and your lack of hesitation. You are rewarded with small promotions, a cleaner desk, and a steady stream of untraceable digital deposits. Fear still governs your actions, but it is now paired with an intoxicating sense of utility. You are useful to dangerous people. You manually delete the audit trail for the Sector 4 delivery, replacing it with a simulated data packet showing a routine delay. Your hands are steady now. You justify the action by looking at your bank balance. The numbers are growing, and the fear is shrinking. You tell yourself that the system is inherently broken anyway, and you are simply optimizing your survival within it. Your empathy begins to dull. You do not think about who receives those unverified pharmaceuticals. You lock your workstation and step into the elevator, ready for more responsibility. A black town car waits for you at the curb on a Tuesday morning. The driver opens the door without speaking. You get in. You are driven to a private estate on the outskirts of the city, where you are introduced to the regional director, a woman named Vance. She hands you an encrypted hardware token. Your new job is to manage the offshore ledger for the entire Eastern Quadrant. At level 3, competence is your primary shield, and information becomes your secondary currency. The rules are clear. Absolute discretion is assumed, and any operational error is treated as treason. You are no longer managed by low-level thugs. You are monitored by corporate algorithms and institutional weight. You spend 16 hours a day inside a high-security server room, routing millions of dollars through shell corporations in Panama and Cyprus. You witness the systemic bribery of city officials, police chiefs, and judges. You no longer feel panic when you see these names on the ledger. You feel a sense of clinical detachment. You are a technician maintaining a complex machine. The moral implications of your work are just data points to be scrubbed. You receive a significant raise and a corporate apartment with a panoramic view of the skyline. You sleep soundly, insulated by wealth and compartmentalization. The regional director finishes her espresso and slides a dossier across the polished mahogany conference table. The photograph inside shows Miller, your supervisor from the loading docks. He has been talking to a federal investigator. Vance looks at you, waiting. You do not blink. You open your laptop and initiate a deep-dive financial audit on Miller's extended family. Within 40 minutes, you locate 3 off-the-books bank accounts and a history of tax evasion. You send the encrypted files directly to the Internal Enforcement Division. You are a skilled operator now. The rules demand proactive execution and the elimination of vulnerabilities before they become liabilities. Your currency is leverage. You control those below you by holding their secrets, and you protect those above you by anticipates their needs. 2 days later, Miller disappears from the payroll. The rumors say he is facing 20 years in a maximum security facility. A brief flash of guilt hits you as you remember the manila envelope under the rain-slicked awning, but you quickly suppress it. Miller was weak. He broke the rules of the system. You tell yourself that his removal was a mathematical necessity to preserve the structural integrity of the enterprise. Your identity is now entirely fused with your function. You stand before a wall of monitors in the command center, reviewing the structural reorganization of the logistics network. You are 34 years old, and you control the distribution pipelines for 3 states. An alert flashes on the central screen. A regional labor union is threatening a strike that could halt your distribution networks for 48 hours. A disruption of that scale will cost your organization $9 million and expose several critical supply lines. At level 5, the rules evolve from defensive mitigation to offensive control. Power is maintained through calculated intimidation and institutional manipulation. You do not react to threats. You engineer environments to prevent them from existing. You call the commissioner of the Department of Transportation using a secure, untraceable line. You remind him of the real estate holdings you anonymized for him in the Bahamas last winter. Within 3 hours, the strike organizers are arrested on fabricated conspiracy charges. The union dissolves by nightfall. You watch the live feed of the empty protest lines on your monitor. You feel nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no remorse. The human elements of the world are simply variables to be managed, suppressed, or eliminated to maintain equilibrium. You sit in a leather chair behind a desk of solid obsidian on the top floor of the corporate headquarters. The city spreads out below you, a sprawling grid of blinking lights and miniature lives. A senior vice president stands across from you, his hands visibly shaking as he presents the quarterly compliance report. One of your primary distribution hubs has fallen behind its recruitment quotas. You do not raise your voice. You simply close the report and look at him. You are an authority figure. At this level, your currency is absolute fear. The rules dictate that your word is law, and your displeasure carries severe professional and personal consequences. You no longer interact with the physical aspects of the business. You command through intermediaries who treat your directives as divine mandates. Fix it, you say softly. The vice president bows his head, stammers an apology, and walks out backward. You know he will ruin a dozen lives tonight to meet your expectations. You justify this cruelty by believing that without your absolute authority, the entire apparatus would collapse into chaos. You are the architect of order. Your personal life is entirely gone. You eat, sleep, and breathe the network. You have no friends, only subordinates and competitors. The Global Board of Directors appoints you to the Executive Committee. You are given a diplomatic passport and an untraceable communication device that connects you to 7 other individuals worldwide. You sit in a soundproof boardroom in Geneva, Switzerland. On the table is a proposal to destabilize a minor sovereign nation's currency to facilitate a frictionless resource extraction initiative. The move will plunge 3 million people into poverty overnight. At level 7, your influence is systemic and your isolation is nearly absolute. The rules are dictated by global macroeconomics and geopolitical chess. Your currency is structural dependency. You control governments, central banks, and international regulatory bodies. You cast your vote in favor of the proposal. The motion passes unanimously. Your mind no longer processes the concept of human suffering. You view the world through the lens of pure, cold efficiency and resource optimization. You are a god of a hidden empire, completely detached from the consequences of your decisions. You are surrounded by luxury, but you taste nothing. You are protected by elite security forces, but you feel permanently exposed. You sit alone in a subterranean bunker beneath a private island in the South Pacific. The air is filtered, silent, and smelling faintly of ozone. A single terminal glows in the center of the room. It displays the real-time status of the global network. Everything is automated. Every politician is bought, every ledger is balanced, and every asset is secured. You have achieved total control. You are completely untouchable. At this final level, the rules cease to exist because there is no one left to enforce them against you. Your currency is absolute stillness. You have no superiors, no equals, and no allies. You control everything, yet you possess nothing that brings meaning. You stare at the monitors. The silence is deafening. The wealth you accumulated is a meaningless series of digits on a screen. The power you wield is an invisible cage that keeps you buried 40 feet underground, terrified of the very world you conquered. You are a ghost inhabiting a digital fortress. A chime sounds from the secondary monitor. It displays a live security feed from a logistics depot across the ocean. The camera feed shows a heavy downpour slanting under a broken awning. A young, exhausted logistics worker stands there, holding a digital clipboard that flashes red. A supervisor steps out from the shadows, sliding a familiar manila envelope into the worker's damp jacket pocket. The worker hesitates, staring at the envelope with a mixture of terror and desperate hope. You watch from your bunker, your breath catching in your throat. You recognize that look. You recognize that exact moment. You realize that you did not build a kingdom to rule. You built a machine to replace you. The worker takes a deep breath, pockets the envelope, and walks toward a rusted sedan. You lean back in your chair as the screen goes black, finally understanding the chilling reality. You were never the master of the system. You were just its fuel, and the machine is always hungry for more.